Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi has arrived in China, and his focus is on shoring up the bilateral economic and strategic ties. Remember, this has come against the backdrop of Iran being under scrutiny from the West, the US in particular, over its crackdown on anti-government protests. The visit by Iranian President has been made in response to a personal invitation by Chinese President Xi Jinping. The three-day trip is Raisi's first state visit to the Asian economic giant, and the first by an Iranian president in 20 long years. Agreements worth more than $10 billion in the fields of economy and infrastructure are expected to be signed during the visit. The two leaders will also reportedly hold private talks, and delegations from both countries are due to sign cooperation documents. Reports also claim that Raisi will be meeting Chinese businessmen and Iranians living in the country. The president of Iran-China Chamber of Commerce elaborated on what could be in store at the meeting. Both presidents met for the first time last September at a summit for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Uzbekistan, where the Iranian president called for further expansion of bilateral ties. China is already Iran's largest trade partner. Both countries in 2021 signed a 25-year strategic cooperation pact. It is said that this pact includes political, strategic and economic components. Along with Russia, China has also signaled it supports Iran's bid to join the powerful BRICS group of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. For more on this, we are now being joined by Einar Tangen, who is a political and economic commentator. Sir, it's the first visit by an Iranian president in 20 years. Why is it happening now, and what does China expect to gain from Iran now?
Well, quite frankly, Iran is having, as you pointed out, having difficulties with the U.S. There's active unrest within the country itself due to these social issues. But this goes back prior to all of this kind of issues about dress and things like this. To the sidelines of the SCO. And obviously, Iran is trying to normalize itself in a world where it has been ostracized by the U.S. And that not only includes the SCO, where it's becoming a member, but also trying to join BRICS. This gives it alternatives economically and politically that it hopes will allow it to, as I said, normalize its relations.
So what kind of discussions are expected to take place during the visit, and what kind of deals can one expect in the future between Iran and China?
Well, right now, if you start looking at the trade, it's slightly in Iran's favor. They are exporting $12.7 billion last year, and they imported $12.6 billion from China. They also arranged to do a direct currency swap. Obviously, that's easier because they can't use dollars. There are 6 ministers who are cabinet-level ministers who are accompanying Raisi, the prime minister, and he will, our president, I'm saying, and they will be trying to look at all areas from agriculture, technology, you name it. They're trying to get something started. They desperately need investment. And that's one of the areas that they will be fanning out. They want to create more business scope, especially as they, have real issues trading with other nations because of SWIFT in the U.S.
So Iran is already under scrutiny of the West, U.S. in particular. Do you feel this visit will further hamper U.S.-China relations? No, I mean, this has been a long time in the making. This is not a sudden issue. This was not a sudden invitation. It has nothing to do with balloons or the proposed meeting with the U.S. But on an overall basis, you start looking at the world and you see that there's this move by the global South and also Central Asia away from the developed former colonial powers. Where they're just basically saying we don't buy into your agenda, neither in terms of Ukraine and having to, quote, choose sides in terms of Russia or Ukraine. There's this credibility gap that has developed. The U.S. says that it is for the international law
for the rule of law and international institutions, yet it is the entity that is preventing the WTO from functioning because it will not allow the appointment of appellate judges, which can render final decisions. It is the one that reneged on the JCPOA, the climate accords in Kyoto and Paris, and many others. It started wars. So at this juncture, it's very hard for a lot of nations to take the U.S. at its word, although the U.S. is still a strong power. Many nations rely on it for security, and it will continue to do so. But you do see a definite trend with Iran going and normalizing itself with nations that are part of this global South and Central Asia bloc. It basically is joining the majority of the world in terms of land mass, people, and actually economy.
Thank you for all those updates, sir. Iran expecting to make some big gains from its visit to China, and it has nothing to do with balloons. So we'll be in touch for more updates.